Formula after the Austrian Grand Prix. I am exceedingly happy after this Grand Prix. They've donned the Williams gear. It was... I will say I'm a little sad that they couldn't manage to win, but given how dominating the Mercedes are, 3 and a 4 is as good as a 1 and a 2 for me in relation to this. So I'm going to have to put in something here to quote myself from 2012, Barcelona 2012. Some of the fan Formula people who know I am a monumental Williams supporter witnessed an uncharacteristic, or not uncharacteristic, an out of character, over the top celebration from myself, which I shall insert here, and just to make sure it will probably be repeated a few times, just to highlight how pleased I was with the result. It has to be done. Williams!
It has to be done. Williams! Williams!
So we'll get on with the questions now. Yeah, that's how happy I was with a 1-2. So who knows what I would have done if they'd done a 1-2 today. But on to the question: do you think it's unfair for drivers to be penalised for unsafe release, or should the FIA look into an alternative? It depends on the situation. I think with Gutierrez, that incident with Gutierrez, the team had shot themselves in the foot enough scrambling to get the car back. So I think maybe a small financial penalty. It's not the driver's fault as such, because if the jack man puts the car down, it's obviously, as far as the driver's concerned, that's it. The car's ready to go. If they use a traffic light system, if it says green, then the driver's just got to react and go. Or if the lollipop man, some of the teams still use a lollipop man, if he deems it all to be good, and they go, then it's not the driver's fault. He's just reacting to what everyone around him is telling him to do. So I think maybe it might be better, rather than looking into a time penalty, particularly if it's a back marker, it might be a small financial penalty, or depending on how it affects them. So for instance, if they realise the mistake and wheel the car back, they've had enough time loss. I think they're aware of the situation. Maybe, let's say, a small financial penalty or a couple of grid place penalty next race. Or if it's like Jenson Button in Silverstone a couple of years ago, where he had to retire the car because he couldn't make it back and it was not possible to do so. And I think that sort of problem solved. The cars, they've taken themselves out of the race by their own fault. That's punishment enough. So I think it's going to depend on the circumstance. But I do think it needs to be reviewed. Question 2. Williams showed great pace in Austria. Will this continue? Oh dear Lord, I hope so. Realistically, who knows? Certainly they've had... Their cars varied between the number 2 and sort of number 5, I'd say, in the grid. As Mercedes have obviously been at the top. Red Bull has been threatening to be there or thereabouts. McLaren were there or thereabouts. Ferrari have... Mainly the Ferrari of Alonso has been threatening to be there, so it depends. But I would love to hope this is the case. I really would love to see them pull themselves further up the grid. I want to say I would love it to continue, but I think that's gonna have to be reviewed on a race by race basis, based on today's performance and combined with the performance in Canada. Let's hope so. But they've done that before with the FW, particularly with the FW34. It looked fantastic, gonna do well, oh, they blew it situation. So who knows? But I hope it continues. Following on that, whose performance did you enjoy most and why? I wonder whose performance I did enjoy most. Oh, it's a team that alphabetically comes... Alphabetically it's towards the back. It's towards the end of the alphabet. Which team is it? Zaxby. Oh wait. Williams, that's the one. Yeah. Williams! Through and through. Yes, I was a bit disappointed that they couldn't capitalise, well not capitalise because it was inevitable. I think with hindsight it was inevitable they were going to lose it, and it was, granted it was, Felipe was on pole on merit, but it wasn't entirely on merit, if that makes sense. He put the timing for pole on merit in the sense it was the quickest at that point, but given how far ahead Hamilton was before he ran off the track and had his time disallowed, probably not. But it's like the second back to question 2. It's who knows. But certainly Bottas and Massa's performance. I'm very happy to see Bottas get on the podium. A little bit of me would have preferred Massa because he's been waiting in the wings a little bit longer, but that doesn't mean to take away from what they wanted. They've scored the maximum that I think they could have achieved today, which is a 3-4. As I say, it was inevitable. I think Mercedes were going to win, but Williams through and through were my favourite team of the day. And bonus question: return to a classic track. Which other track would you bring back to F1? It's a tough one to say because a lot of the classic tracks I've seen bits of them, if that makes sense. So I've seen bits of them, like I've seen bits of the old Rio de Janeiro track when the BBC used to do their regular classic Grand Prix thing every race. I'd like to see a race back in France. I think simply I think F1's shooting itself in the foot. Yes, Magny-Cours is not perhaps the best placed for a race, but it depends on what. By classic track, it doesn't necessarily specify it's an F1 track. So maybe they could go to Paul Ricard, but again, I've raced little bits of it on racing games, so I don't even know if the layout I was racing was the right layout or not. But I'd love to see a return to France, and if they are going to try and do away with Italy or Belgium, then they come back immediately. Whilst I'd like to say someone like Mugello, I think a country that has a few great tracks within it. Maybe even the old at Le Mans, not the Sarthe or old Le Mans, because I love F1, but what's going to be fascinating or entertaining about it? An F1 car blasting down Mulsanne. It's going to be sat at top speed for so long. But maybe at Le Mans, the Bugatti circuit. I've raced it on raced it on Forza quite a few times, and a couple of times on Gran Turismo, depending on whether I've been there on the Xbox or the PlayStation. Either way, I didn't like to race it very much, but that was mostly because the cars I have on Forza, they spend most of they're either built for going sideways or in straight lines. Most of them aren't. Most of them, after I've put the parts in them, aren't very good at cornering. But I need a challenge anyway. But yeah, I think I can't think of a track as such, but certainly France would be a place to go. So that's the end of this fan formula entry. I just want to go on to something separate. Don't know whether, well, I'm not sure how many people look at my Twitter feed, and to be honest, I'm not fussed either way whether it's viewed a lot or not. But what I would like to promote, nothing in relation to Storm Space Productions, because it's wrong to say that's wound down. With work, I cannot get the projects to come together as I would like. But what I want to promote is Velocity Kinetics. I made a post earlier in the week about Caterham. I recorded last weekend, put it up over I think it was over Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It was sort of editing, because like this I've had to crop out a green screen, that takes bloody ages. Hopefully this is the last one I have to do before I get my new PC, which is going to be a 3.56 core, 8 gigs of RAM beast. So I'm a little bit more excited than I should be for that. But just promote the Velocity Kinetics, which has been made in association with Road Race Parts. Road Race Parts is a partners. It's a title sponsor of a team in the Trans Am. It's the Balcom Road Race Parts Trans Am vehicle, but it's also a great place to get all your parts for racing vehicles, and also just advice on what you need to do if you run a race team, what parts and things you need to do per season or per part of the year, whether that's racing year or just on the road. So it's a great place. But I'd like to promote the Velocity Kinetics page. There will be a Williams post coming up there shortly, also partly why I've done the Williams gear as well, not because my t-shirt I was wearing earlier has got a mark of it, an unknown origin, and looks very dodgy. But we'll see. Anyway, I'll stop rambling now. On to Silverstone next. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. I'm guessing it's going to be very pink. For a good reason.